my channel. My name is Tracy, and for today's tips and tricks video I am talking about the Silicone Craft Sheet. Now this is an amazing tool to have in your craft stash. You can find it in the Stampin' Up! Annual Catalogue. I believe it's on 183. Let me have a look. Yep, there it is, just down the very bottom. $10 here in Australia, which is a really great price point for a tool. Now I'm going to show you 6 ways that you can use the Silicone Craft Sheet. I'm sure there's plenty more, but these are the ones that I use quite regularly. So it comes in a little square, it's silicone. The first use I'm going to show you is how to attach some delicate die cuts together. So I've just die cut from the Butterfly Beauties dies, so these two here. One is a really intricate die and then the other one is more solid. What we're going to do is we're going to place the detailed die face down. I'm going to grab some of the Tombow Mono Multi Glue. This is the best glue ever. I'm going to pop a little bit on my silicone pad, and then I'm just going to take a piece of a stamping sponge. Now I have this dedicated just for this technique. Keep it in a container to keep it from drying out too much. And that's just a 1/8 piece of that stamping sponge. I'm just going to pick up some of that glue and I'm just going to go around that die. You are going to have to change out your sponge if you use this regularly, because it will actually attach to the cardstock. But there we have it. There's lots and lots of glue on there. I'm going to place the two together. And that is firmly stuck down. No glue seeping out anywhere, you've not got glue everywhere. And this is a really great technique to use. Now once the glue dries, so this is the part that I've used here, but I did pop a little bit on there earlier. Now there's a couple of ways to keep that, keep your craft mat clean. You can just go over it with your fingers and that glue will just pick straight up. We all remember as kids putting glue on our hands in primary school and then waiting for it to dry and then peeling it up. Very satisfying. So is this. The other thing that you can do is just use a baby wipe or a cloth, bring it in. Stamping mist stamp cleaner also cleans it really well, or just running it under cold water under the sink. All clean. So that is the first use for the Silicone Craft Sheet. Let's move on to the second one. I'm just going to actually turn this over so it's not wet. The second one I want to show you is using sponging. I'm going to bring that back in again. I have die cut some daisy punches in Daffodil Delight. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring a sponge dauber in and some crushed curry ink. So this cleans up really easily. So if I come in, I can add a little bit of colour on each of those petals, as much or as little as I like. And I'm going to do all these and I'll just be back in a second. So I have all my sponging done. You can see I haven't been overly careful with all that ink. Let me see, can you see that ink everywhere? And this just comes straight off. So same as before, you can run it under water, you can use a towel, a baby wipe, which is what I've got here, and that just cleans it off. So that is the second technique. Now it leads me into the third technique, which is hot glue. These silicone sheets are designed to be heat proof, so it's really great to use with the hot glue gun. And what we're going to do is I've just turned it on. Okay, so it's starting to work. What I'm going to do while that heats up just that little bit more, I'm going to create a little bit of definition on my petals by curling them up against my bone folder. And I haven't taken any real care in sponging these. These are just really quickly to show you how to do it. I haven't even done a center, so you'll have to bear with me with that. Okay, so I've popped them up. All I'm going to do is pop a little bit of glue on the center of the daisy. I'm going to create my flower. Oh, bit more glue. Last one here. So that creates a really easy flower. Now if you had trouble with the bottom one, you could also just pop a little bit of glue down onto your silicone craft sheet, pop that down on top as you're working, building whatever it is that you're building up. The great thing is that is not going to stick to that craft sheet at all. So I'm going to just move this out of the way and turn that off. I want to bring this up and show you. So these were the parts that come out of it before I started using it. As you can see, it comes up really quickly and easy to clean away. Let's see if that's dry. See, that dried and just lifted straight off. You can also pull all those little strands off. And I still have that little bit of glue that I stuck on the bottom to actually attach it to the craft sheet to create that daisy. Nice little centre in there. Wouldn't that look beautiful? So that is the second one. Let me bring this in. Actually didn't use all those petals, but that's okay. Cleaning that off. So for our third technique for today, so fourth technique, we're on to our fourth one. I'm going to show you that this can be used with your embossing paste. So we have the embossing paste here. This is just the white one. Bring some out. Now you can either just use it this way with the white, but I'm going to actually add a little bit of re-inker in here. I have Gorgeous Grape. Just going to add 1 drop of that. Gonna mix it in. It's a nice bright colour. Super easy to create, mix that colour all in together. As you can see, I'm scraping along it, it's not hurting the mat whatsoever. And look at that vibrant colour we have there. I'll just bring in another piece of Whisper White. And I'm just going to create a nice little effect there that I can use on a card later on. This would also work really well with your masks. So if you had, let me just bring this up and I'll show you. I'll just go and get one of my masks. So I have just one of the decorative masks. I'm going to clean off this really quickly. You're going to make sure that you clean your silicone mat when you use embossing paste really well because it does stick quite quickly. I'm going to put my piece of Whisper White down, the mask over the top, and then I've just got what I had left over on my palette knife, and I'm just going to run that over. Picking off that excess, lifting that up. So there we have the really pretty cardstock. We have it there. But the silicone mat has all the excess, so I'm just going to run that underwater just to keep that clean and get all that embossing paste off. So I cleaned that all under running water because that is the quickest and easiest way to get the embossing paste off. Now the next one I want to show you is using your silicone mat as a palette. So usually we can squeeze our ink pads and then we have the palette inside now, which is great, but it's no good if you're adding a lot of water. It does create a bit of mess, which then can go into your ink pad. But let me show you a different way. So I'm going to just add a little bit of that crushed curry. I'm moving on to Bermuda Bay. I'll pop some of that down. And I've got some rich raspberry here as well. So I have the 3 colours down. I know it's a little bit hard to see through the camera, but hopefully you can sort of see a little bit of it. I've got some shimmery white cardstock here, and I'm going to bring a watercolour marker. I'm going to bring my aqua painter in. I'm going to add a little bit of water to the Silicone Craft Sheet, and then I'm going to create my wash. So cleaning off the aqua painter each time, going in with a bit more water. I need to pop some more water in my aqua painter, I think. And then lastly, with the rich raspberry. And there we have it. So we can do a watercolor wash with this Silicone Craft Sheet. One thing that I also wanted to show you too is, you know, the technique with your acrylic block where you put your colors down onto your acrylic block, you spray it or spritz it, and then you pop your card down over the top. We already have the colors here. Let me bring in a Stampin' Spritzer. Let's add a little bit of color with the water. Okay, let's put lots of water down. I'm also going to bring in a piece of watercolor paper. This is the Fluid 100. Just going to place that straight down onto the Silicone Craft Sheet. Oh. Lift it up. And we have that technique all on the craft sheet. So super easy. Again, clean that off. You don't have a mess everywhere. So you're containing it just to this little 6 by 6 inch square. Easy, clean, and ready to do the next technique. One thing that I didn't want to forget too is if you have a die cut that you're going to use and you've popped it up with dimensional, so let's just do that really quickly. And then you decide that you're not going to use it, but unfortunately you've already taken the backings off, which I haven't done yet, but I'll quickly do, because I'm sure everyone's done it. I know I have before. Okay, so we're going to place it down on our card or project, and then we think, oh no, actually I don't want to use it just yet, I've got to do something else. So one thing that you can do is you can place it with all the backings off, straight down onto your Silicone Craft Sheet. Now, the great thing is, this is not going to stick to it. Doesn't matter what it is, you could press it down and it's still going to come straight up. Still stay sticky, so you're right to stick that down on your craft once you're done. So this Silicone Craft Sheet is awesome for that reason as well. The last one I want to show you is actually the mirroring technique. Now, when I first started stamping, this was one thing that I'd seen and I wasn't able to recreate it. So the Silicone Craft Sheet has changed the way you can view things. We are going to need the Stamparatus for this. So I'm going to bring that in. We're also going to be using the stamp set Free as a Bird. So I have this one here. I want to use this little bird here. So putting the craft sheet down first, putting my little bird down, and I'm going to be using Memento Tuxedo black ink for this. So I've got that here. I'm going to ink that up and just pressing down onto that Silicone Craft Sheet. We're actually going to ink it up twice because I want a really good impression. Okay, so we have a really good impression. I'm going to take that off. I'm going to bring in my piece of card that's already stamped on one side. I'm going to turn it over so the stamped image is on the bottom. I'm going to line up where I wanted it. I'm going to just pop a acrylic block over the top and just pressing down. And then we have the mirroring image using the Silicone Craft Sheet. Let me bring in some of those things that we've just finished doing. Okay, so these are the few of the techniques that we've used with the Silicone Craft Sheet today. I hope you've enjoyed this tips and tricks technique, and I hope that it's helped you in some way. If it has, please give me a thumbs up, and I'd love it if you left me a comment. If you're in need of one of these Silicone Craft Sheets and you live in Australia, please shop in my online store. I would really appreciate it. There's plenty of things that I gift to you through shopping with me, and I would love to be your demonstrator. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye bye.